Why do some women become more attractive with age, while others seem to disappear from men's eyes? This is not a coincidence or an injustice of the world. It is a reflection of the inner state of what Carl Jung called the manifestation of the self, a mature, whole personality that no longer depends on external approval. True feminine attractiveness is not based on makeup, youth, or flawless facial features. Its source lies deeper in how you feel inside, how you carry yourself in the world, what energy you fill the space with. A woman becomes irresistible not when she strives to please, but when she returns to her true nature, to her inner awareness, to her values. This is what makes her magnetic, even if she is long past model age. Carl Jung wrote that the unconscious always strives for wholeness, which means that your strength lies in becoming yourself without masks, without games, without fear of being inadequate. In this text, I will show you 7 deep habits that will help awaken the power within you that makes a woman unforgettable. Don't miss the 6th and 7th habits. They are the key to your inner transformation. Are you ready to stop being someone who tries to earn attention and become someone people want to be around? Then, let's begin. Habit number 1. Confidence is your invisible crown. Confidence is not a loud voice, not provoking laughter, and not trying to be noticed. It is silence filled with dignity. It is a presence that can be felt before a woman even says a word. This is how Carl Jung described the manifestation of inner maturity, not as a mask, but as the result of the integration of all aspects of one's personality, light and shadow, strength and vulnerability. A woman in whom this wholeness has been awakened does not ask for love. She radiates it. She does not need compliments because she has already accepted herself. She is not afraid of loneliness because she has become her own main support. Her strength is not aggressive. It is calm, like the depth of a lake. When such a woman enters a room, the space changes. Not because of her dress, makeup, or expensive jewelry, but because she knows who she is. Jung said, "What we are not aware of in ourselves, we project onto others." A woman who has gone through the process of self-discovery does not need projections. She has accepted her weaknesses, her desires, her wounds. This is what makes her free and, as a result, incredibly attractive. Think about who you want to listen to. The one who shouts about her worth, or the one who is silently present, and this is already felt as strength. That is why confidence is not a loud orchestra, but an inner attitude that sounds like a warm, steady chord. Imagine a scene. 2 women walk into the same cafe. One is young and attractive, but constantly checks her phone and fixes her hair, as if seeking reassurance. "I'm fine." The other is calm, with an open face, a slightly raised chin, a leisurely gait, and a look in her eyes that shows no sign of restlessness. Which of these women will attract more attention? The one whose energy is whole. Jung emphasized the importance of a conscious attitude toward the body as the bearer of the soul. Therefore, posture is not just a pose, it is a form of dialogue with the world. Straight shoulders, a straight back, a soft but confident gaze are not just visual signals. They are an expression of your inner position. I am worthy of being here. That is why confidence is not armor or cold indifference. It is a warm inner stability that says, I don't need approval to value myself. It is a habit of respecting your feelings without suppressing them, and at the same time not submitting to them. To develop this state, start with small steps. Every morning, standing in front of the mirror, look into your eyes not with criticism, but with acceptance, as if you were looking at your favorite friend. Don't slouch, even when you're tired. Not because it looks beautiful, but because your body deserves a proud posture. Don't rush to speak. Enjoy the pause. Let every word be a conscious choice, not an automatic reaction. Jung said that until you make the unconscious conscious, it will control your life, and you will call it fate. Confidence begins when you stop reacting automatically and start living from conscious choices: how to speak, how to walk, how to look, how to be silent. Let every step you take speak of dignity. Let your value be heard even in silence, because confidence is not what is seen, it is what is felt. Now let's move on to the second habit. It will reveal to you the power of not clinging, but allowing yourself to be desired. and that turns the whole game around. Habit 2. Don't cling and become desirable. One of the most destructive illusions that the fear of loneliness draws us into is the idea that attention must be retained at all costs. Respond immediately, always be available, don't miss a moment. But in reality, it is precisely this behavior that most often repels others. Carl Jung wrote, "What we hold on to too tightly slips away. What we let go of with trust comes back to us." And in this simple thought lies a great feminine truth. Attractiveness is not about proving your worth, but about knowing it silently. A woman who does not chase attention seems to carry a secret that one wants to unravel. Her behavior does not scream, "Notice me." It calmly asserts, "I am here, and I don't need to run after someone who is not coming to me." Why does this work? Because a woman's energy is a currency that men sense intuitively. If it is available without limits, without pause, without breath, it loses its value. It's like a beautiful landscape that you get used to if you see it every day from your window. But if that landscape disappears, you begin to miss it. Think about how often you rush to reply to messages not because you wanted to, but because you had to. How often did you build your day around waiting for a call? How often did you lose yourself, dissolving into thoughts of another? This is not attractive. It exhausts both the man and, most importantly, you. A woman who does not cling is not cold. She simply does not merge with anxiety. Her presence is like a quiet fragrance, like music in another room, unobtrusive but attractive. This is not manipulation, but a state of being. She respects her time, her emotions, her life, and a man feels that to be with her, he must be worthy. Jung emphasized that love cannot be achieved by an effort of will. It is born of freedom. That is why an attractive woman is not one who knocks on closed doors, but one who is open to those who knock themselves. She is not closed off, but she has boundaries. To master this habit, don't check your phone every 10 minutes. Trust life. Don't build a schedule around his convenience. Let him fit into your reality. Don't be afraid to be a little mysterious. That is your strength. Take care of yourself. Sign up for yoga or dance classes. Start writing essays. Read things that inspire you. Immerse yourself in your life. A woman who is immersed in the process, in creativity, in growth, radiates a magnetism that does not create anxiety, but evokes admiration. And if he writes, respond when you feel a sincere desire to do so, not out of fear of losing something. Self-respect always trumps the fear of losing someone's attention, because it is not the one who is always available who is attractive, but the one who has her own axis, her own center, her own life. This is not coldness, it is maturity. It is feminine wisdom that comes when you are tired of being convenient. Not clinging does not mean repelling. It means being chosen again, not because you are nearby, but because you are valuable. And now imagine that your image can speak for you even before you speak. Your posture, your style, your scent. The next habit is the art of being noticeable without words. The third habit is a style that speaks without words. A real woman is not a fashion. It is not a trend. It is not conformity to standards. It is energy encoded in details. Carl Jung said that a symbol is the best possible formulation of what cannot yet be fully understood. Style is a symbol. It reflects the unconscious. It speaks for you. It tells a story that you have not yet had time to tell. When a woman chooses clothes, she may just be flipping through hangers. But when a mature woman chooses clothes, she is not looking for fabric, she is looking for expression, her sign, her archetype, her rhythm. Style is not imitating bloggers, it is not sacrificing to seasonal trends. It is an inner voice that has found form in the outer. That is why, even in the simplest clothes, a woman can look like a queen if she is in harmony with herself. Think about why some women in jeans and a white shirt look mesmerizing, while others in expensive dresses and full makeup get lost in the crowd because the former lives her image while the latter wears a mask. And this difference can be felt. Your style is about your archetype. Jung called archetypes those ancient images that live in every woman. The great mother, the muse, the warrior, the healer. In some people one speaks, in others several at once. But when you find clothes that match your inner symbol, you no longer need anything else. A woman who carries herself with dignity does not need brightness to be noticed. Sometimes one scarf, one fragrance, one detail, and everything around her becomes quiet because her energy has gathered, because she is whole. If you want your style to be your ally, not a foreign voice, start with questions. What makes me feel alive? Star. What colors enhance my mood? What shapes reflect my character? Don't be afraid to try. Don't just try on dresses, try on a state of mind. Allow yourself to be romantic, daring, refined at different times, because feminine power lies in changeability, not in a template. And don't forget about fragrance. Smell is the most ancient language of the unconscious. One right fragrance can remain in someone's memory forever. It's like a trace, like a touch that doesn't require a body. And remember, style is not for impressing, it's for expressing. And if you feel calm, confident, and beautiful in this image, then this is your path to self-expression. This is your self in matter. Jung argued that personality is manifested not in noise, but in symbols, gestures, and movements. Let your style speak for you. It is not a mask, it is a message. Now on to the next habit. It is not visible from the outside, but everyone can feel it. It is that soft energy that cannot be copied and cannot be forgotten. Habit number 4. Feminine energy is a soft power that changes everything. In today's world, women are often taught to be quick, bold, and rational. But the further she moves away from her natural energy, the more she loses that very attractiveness that needs no words. Carl Jung wrote that within every person there is an anima and an animus, a feminine and masculine principle. And only when a woman refuses to play the role of a man in a skirt and returns to her true anima does she become her true self, and therefore irresistible. Feminine energy is not weakness, it is not passivity. It is the ability to influence not through pressure, but through presence. It is inner confidence. I don't need to fight to get what I want. Everything that is mine will come to me. Not because I am inactive, but because I'm in the flow. I am centered within myself. A woman with an awakened anima does not try to control everything around her. She does not dominate the conversation, plan for two, or argue her point. She does not shout over others. She listens. She does not argue to win. She remains silent to preserve. This is where her strength lies. It is not a game or a strategy. It is a deep understanding that gentleness can bend even metal. Men sense such a woman with their skin. Her speech is slow and warm, her movements smooth. Her gaze does not judge but accepts. She is like warm air after a storm, refreshing, calm, desirable. With her nearby, you want to slow down, become better, ground yourself. Jung argued that one of the reasons men fear femininity is its depth and mysterious power. A woman who is connected with herself awakens both the shadow and the light in a man. That is why it is impossible to be indifferent to her. She touches the strings of the soul. To awaken this energy, little star, stop trying to control everything. Learn to trust. Stop filling every pause. Let the silence speak for you. Stop fighting for love. Become the one with whom love arises on its own. Start practicing relaxation. Take walks alone, dance without rules. Take a warm bath with lavender oil. Read books by candlelight. These are not trifles. This is a return home to yourself. And if there is a man next to you, don't take all the initiative. Ask what he has to offer, and then be silent. This is not weakness. It is an invitation. It is a sign. I am not running away. I am allowing you to reveal yourself. Feminine energy is like a river. It can be calm, it can be turbulent, but it never breaks. It flows around and changes, not by force, but by flow. Carl Jung said that the path to wholeness is the path back to oneself. Feminine energy is a return to softness, to the rhythm of the body, to intuition, to natural beauty. It is a force that does not need to be explained. It is simply felt. Now, imagine that you are not just a woman who radiates softness. You are a woman whose speech and silence leave a mark. The 5th habit is the art of conversation that you want to listen to again and again. Habit 5, the art of conversation that stays in the heart. There are women you want to talk to endlessly, not because they talk a lot, but because they talk differently. Their voice is not just a sound, but a vibration that resonates with something very deep inside. Their words are not noise, but meaning. Even their silence is eloquent. Carl Jung wrote that how you speak is more important than what you say. That is why a woman's verbal magic is not a set of phrases, brilliant jokes, or intellectual dominance. It is rhythm, pause, inner fullness. Talking to such a woman is like jazz. It is not every note that is important, but the space between them. She knows how to be silent at the right moment, to smile without explaining, to respond with a glance, or to leave a phrase unfinished so that it remains intriguing. When talking to her, a man does not feel that he is being evaluated or pigeonholed. He feels that he has been heard. And that is rare. That is what awakens the desire to return to her again. Such a woman speaks slowly. She does not rush, does not fill the silence with nervous chatter. Each of her words seems to be measured from within, not to impress, but to create space for contact. Jung said that a true encounter occurs where one unconscious touches another. That is why in conversation it is not only what you say that is important, but how you allow the other person to open up. A woman who has mastered this art knows how to listen without interrupting. She looks into the eyes, but not intrusively. She leaves part of herself in silence. She does not reveal all her cards at once. If she is asked, "What are you interested in?" she does not give a list. She smiles and says, "It's a long story, I'll tell you sometime." And this arouses interest more than the longest story. If the conversation starts to fade, she doesn't cling on. She may simply say, "It was nice, thank you," and leave, leaving behind a scent rather than a residue. She knows how to ask questions, but not superficial ones, rather deep ones. What do you value most in silence? When was the last time you felt alive? What place changed you? Such questions open doors because they are not about control, they are about depth. And when a man answers them, he feels that he is becoming real next to her, and this inspires trust in him. A woman's voice is her instrument. It is not just an organ, it is a conduit of energy. Therefore, do not raise your voice to be heard. Don't make excuses to be understood. Don't rush so that you won't be forgotten. When a woman speaks from her depths, her words remain in the body of her interlocutor, like an echo that you want to hear again and again. And then, even the simplest, "I'm glad to see you," sounds not like politeness, but like a touch. Now imagine that you don't just know how to speak, you know how to be without words. Your energy is quiet but strong. The next habit is independence, and it, like all great things, inspires admiration for its freedom. Habit 6. Independence, a light you can't take your eyes off. True feminine attractiveness is revealed when a woman ceases to be someone's other half and becomes a whole world. A world in which there is sun and shadow, silence and movement, inspiration and peace. Carl Jung said, "We do not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by becoming aware of the darkness within ourselves." And it is this awareness that gives birth to independence, not external and declarative, but internal, lived, and hard-won. A woman who has walked her path no longer needs approval. She doesn't need someone else to feel complete. She doesn't play at independence, she breathes it, and this freedom becomes magnetic. The man next to her feels no pressure, he feels inspiration. He sees not a needy girl, but a woman who stands tall, who has goals, passion, and a mission. She does not dissolve into the relationship. She does not forget herself for the sake of someone else's comfort. She does not give up her dreams for the sake of approval. This is where her strength lies. Her energy says, "I am with you because I choose to be with you, not because I feel empty without you." Jung believed that the path to selfhood is the path of separation from collective roles. An independent woman no longer plays the role of a good girl, a compliant companion, or an ideal wife. She returns to herself, cutting off everything that is not her essence. And yes, it is precisely this kind of woman who frightens weak men, because she cannot be controlled by affection or whims. She does not need promises, she needs actions. She does not bargain for love, she chooses. And in this lies her bold, beautiful, radiant freedom. To reach this state, find something that ignites you from within. It doesn't matter if it makes money, The main thing is that it gives you meaning. Surround yourself with people who empower you, not drain you. Learn to be alone, not out of loneliness, but out of conscious presence with yourself. Independence is when you don't wait for someone to save you, you have already saved yourself. When the morning begins, not with waiting for someone's message, but with the thought of what I will do today to be closer to myself. And then, the man is there. He is not an anchor, he is a companion, not a need, but a gift. Not the center, but a comrade in arms. A woman who lives a full life shines. She shines truly. Like a star, she doesn't need an audience to shine, but it is this light that attracts those who are ready to walk alongside her, not to extinguish her, but to burn together. Jung wrote that only those who have become themselves can truly be with someone else. Independence is not loneliness, it is a space in which true unity without merging is possible. You are not a half, you are whole. And this can be felt in everything, in your gait, in your choice of words, in the way you hold a cup, in the way you say no, in the way you look in the mirror. And now, the last, most subtle and most often underestimated habit, the one that determines the depth of your aura. It is maturity, emotional, silent, indestructible. Habit number 7. Emotional maturity is your unshakable aura. There is something stronger than beauty, loud words, and even charisma. It is the calmness that is felt when you are with a woman. It is her ability to be an anchor, not a storm. It is the state when she does not fight with life, but looks it in the eye with acceptance, wisdom, and inner light. Carl Jung wrote, "A person does not become mature by avoiding conflicts, but by going through them and realizing their meaning." An emotionally mature woman is not one who has not experienced pain. She is one who has processed that pain, accepted it, and allowed it to become a source of strength. She does not manipulate with tears. She does not demand immediate answers. She does not take offense at trifles. There is no drama in her, only depth. She does not hurt others, nor does she allow herself to be hurt. Her presence is like a bowl of water, transparent, calm, and at the same time capable of reflecting any sky. A man feels this. He understands that he is not facing a girl with inner chaos, but a woman with inner clarity. She will not throw tantrums because she is not afraid to be herself. She will not run after him because she is not afraid to be alone. She will not play the victim because her adult self is more important than her ego. Jung argued that the path to true love begins with individuation, with separating oneself from fears, projections, and expectations. Emotional maturity is the result of this path, and it begins with a silent decision. I no longer live on autopilot. How can you recognize such a woman? She reacts with a pause, not with an impulse. She listens not to respond, but to understand. She does not try to persuade. She allows others to be themselves, and most importantly, she carefully conserves her energy and does not give it away to those who are not ready to appreciate it. Emotional maturity is the ability to not hurt others in return, even when you are hurt. It is the ability to emerge from conflict with dignity. It is the skill of being strong, not by suppressing feelings, but by being aware of them. Practice this state. Take a deep breath before responding. Listen to yourself before agreeing. Stay alone with yourself before sharing with others. Your strength is not in your reaction, it is in your conscious choice. When to speak, when to be silent, when to leave, and when to stay. And it is this maturity that makes you extraordinarily attractive because you become the woman next to whom the world finds its rhythm. She is not a hurricane. She is the sea, calm, deep, and incredibly attractive. A man who finds himself in her space feels that next to her, he too can be real. No masks, no panic, no games. An emotionally mature woman does not need loud declarations. She feels the truth with her skin. She does not cling to the past. She lives in the present, and that is what makes her truly unforgettable. Attractiveness is not a game, not a trick, not a mask that you can put on before a date. It is a natural consequence of inner work on yourself. It is a reflection of who you became when you stopped being comfortable, when you stopped asking for love and started being love. Carl Jung believed that the greatest task of a person is to become themselves. And this is precisely what makes a woman truly desirable. Her courage to be herself, not a copy, not a role, but herself in her voice, in her gait, in her gaze, in her silence. The 7 habits you have read about are not just behavioral tips, they are a vector for returning to yourself. Each of them cuts off the old, dependence on the opinions of others, the need for confirmation, the desire to conform, and at the same time awakens the new. Confidence, ease, depth, strength. You become a woman to whom people return not because she asks them to, but because being around her makes them feel better. You don't chase, you don't explain, you don't play games, you just live in your own axis. And this inner stability becomes a light for others, men, destinies, events. Everything begins to gravitate towards you, not because you shout, "Look at me," but because your energy has become a call without words. After all, female power is not in control, but in trust, not in loudness, but in silence, not in a mask of perfection, but in accepting your truth with its shadows, its vulnerability, its liveliness. Don't strive to be understood by everyone. Strive to be understood by yourself, and then you will become someone who is not forgotten, not because of your appearance, but because of the feeling you leave behind. So let this journey begin today. Let these habits become not external rules, but internal guidelines. Let your presence be the answer, your energy the invitation, and your silence the loudest affirmation. I am whole, I am attractive, and I no longer need to prove it to anyone. If this path resonates with you, share it with a friend, a sister, or with yourself in silence. Let there be more women like this. Let the world remember you not for your words, but for the light you radiate.